So let me stray. Please guide my way onto the path of my deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh, Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk on your favorite channel, Huda TV. I'm your host, Arkham Rashid, and tonight we will be taking a look at the consequences of drugs, its effect on society and the youth. We will also be discussing different ways which can help somebody stay away from drugs. Joining us today are 4 guests from different countries to share their perspectives and thoughts on the matter. We'll start by having the guests introduce themselves, and then we'll quickly watch a short video. So starting from my right-hand side, brother, if I can have you introduce yourself to the audience.
My pleasure, brother.
Can you give us your name, where you're from, what you're doing here in Egypt, and just a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Muhammad Arabi. I'm a junior student at Al-Azhar University. I study Faculty of Language and Translation, Islamic Studies Department. And I just came from Washington, D.C. I was studying international relations.
Oh, that's good.
So
Wow.
this is a basic about me.
All right, welcome to the show, Muhammad.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay, brother, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Nazif Abu Bakr by name, coming to you from a culturally and linguistically diverse country, Nigeria, of course.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so I'm here in Egypt, the mother of Africa, or the mother of the world, as they fondly call it.
Yeah, Dunya.
Yeah, Mauritania. So I'm here, inshallah, to study at Al-Azhar University.
Okay. Are you in Al-Azhar University at the moment?
This year, I'm going to start this year, inshallah.
Oh, okay, inshallah. All right, welcome to the show, brother.
Okay.
Brother, if I can have you introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, my name is Sulaiman Bari from Guinea-Conakry in part of West Africa, and I'm a student here in Al-Azhar University.
Also at Al-Azhar University.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you in Al-Azhar at the moment, or you're trying to join?
I'm in right now.
Oh, okay, mashallah. Which faculty?
Commerce faculty.
Commerce. Okay.
Commerce.
So welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah.
If I can have you introduce yourself to the audience.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. My name's Ilyas Townsend. I'm coming from London.
Okay.
And I'm here, inshallah. I'm not like these other guests here. I'm trying to start at Al-Azhar University, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. So most of you brothers are trying to start Al-Azhar University or in Al-Azhar University. We wish you the best and welcome you to the show. So now we're going to quickly take a look at a video, and then once we come back from the video, we're going to start our discussion.
How perfect you are, Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that short video clip. Now I want to start off by asking Brother Muhammad here, what did you observe from that video? What can you extract from that video?
Yes, it's a very short and it's bear many meanings. One of the meanings that I can deduce from this the short video, that it's the story of many youth among us, in this society. And I was very happy that this guy, at the end of the video, he get rid of this, this illness or this disease that he was having, his heart. And when he flushed the shovel, this was one of the things that's as if he telling us that these things are not, there are places in the sewage, not in the stomach, not inside the body. So. This is my short perspective on or observing that from this short video.
Is there something else that you'd like to add to that you observed from the
Okay,
video?
just as I can observe from the video clip,
Yeah.
I can see a guy who is an intravenous drug user,
Mhm.
injecting himself, putting all these diseases in himself, and later on he discovered his mistakes, or Allah guided him. So that's all matters, because doing drugs, for example, if you are doing drugs and in the end you love doing drugs, that you are one of the chosen few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. There's many people that don't
Yeah.
ever end up quitting.
Of course.
Yeah.
They go on forever, they go on.
Brothers, can I ask you, what did you guys observe, starting with Brother Ilyas?
Yeah, the most poignant part of the video for me actually was when he's searching for the drugs. So, and I think that's really a sign of how serious an addiction can get. I mean, a serious drug addiction will have a person sell all of their personal possessions. They'll spend money that's supposed to be used for the household, maybe spend money that's supposed to be for the children's food, maybe for the children's clothes, maybe on the gas or electricity, just to feed that addiction.
Yes.
Well, you're from London, right?
Yeah.
So there's obviously a big drug problem in London.
Yeah.
So is there anything, you've heard, stories, or just something you'd like to
Yeah, I
share
mean,
with us?
I grew up in southeast London, and really I've seen the effects of drugs throughout my whole life, drugs and alcohol, serious abuse, so I can relate to the topic because I've seen it. I grew up around it, and alhamdulillah, I'm glad I'm in a Muslim country, even though a lot of Muslim countries are perfect, but the kind of drug exposure isn't the same as it is.
It's definitely not the
London.
same, but I think there is, to a certain extent, drug abuse and drug issues
I'm not
in
saying
every
there's
country.
drug abuse,
Yeah.
but in terms of variety and in terms of danger,
Yeah.
I believe that Muslim countries are not as exposed as other countries, even
Okay,
though there is a problem.
I'm going to pause you there. I want to go back to Brother Muhammad. You're from Egypt, you
Yeah.
said. So what's the issues with drugs in Egypt? What's it like in Egypt? Is it a major issue here, or it's not?
Definitely, is one of them. One of them social maladies that I consider we need, or I consider it's ever increasing every day.
Yeah.
That's our youth right now. They are suffering from this, and they didn't find anyone who direct them, trying to tell them that these things are collapsing or are self-destructive practices. So as my brother have already said, that this is it is one of the effects of modernity that's brought for us these self-destructive and self abusive things that's made our youth right now. They are following their desires and whims and consuming wine, cocaine and other kind of narcotics, which leads to many youth pass away because they got overdosed on drugs and
drug
things.
abuse.
So we find many things, and at the same time we don't have rehabilitation centers that provide help and care for those guys.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most pressing and the major and critical issues that we are suffering. And I have many stories that to tell. That's many guys have they lost everything. They lost everything in the quest of getting some kind of drugs. They got to humiliate themselves and abuse themselves and become what? Slaves of
Drugs.
just one dose. And their stories, very simple. It started with one pill, started with one sip.
It's always the first.
It started with one dose, started with one taste. So this is the point. This is the major issue. In the very beginning was only one minor issue. So I wish that we today inshallah will share our perspective and try to find a solution, because we need to find we are desperately needing to find the solution that will help us to get out of this this chasm. Subhanallah.
Okay, I want to jump back to Brother Suleiman. You didn't get to share your perspective of the video we.
Another part where I say, like, as he was start when he came inside the bathroom, he got it, and then in the end he get himself, because not everyone can control himself.
Yeah.
That's it, mashallah, is a good. So because some of them they can, especially if they talk it, they can, how to say, destroy everything inside the house. But by the end he get himself to control, and he turned back and he went to the bathroom, he flushed it.
Yeah.
And that is, mashallah, is good.
Would you say drugs are a major issue in your country, where you're from? Would you say it's a major issue amongst the youth especially?
Yeah, I'm from Guinea-Conakry. That's like, especially now, most of the youth, some of them take it, especially drinking.
And are there any, because the first step in solving a problem is to realize that there is a problem.
Yeah.
So, does the administration in the country or any organization, do they actually, try to help the youth,
there is not like easy, especially because the government is not like trying enough, because there's some kind of problem, especially political problems,
Yeah.
So there's some youth, they are just sitting like this, no work, no job, they are not doing nothing. So that's always going to push their mind, because sometimes if I just sit like this, if shaitan, just push you, can do something, something not good. So some of them, if they saw their friend like going to another way, so that only you can follow your friend, you see. If you follow him, so they're going to pass at some places, so it's not good, You guys going to smoke like...
Yeah, peer pressure.
Yeah, you see. Or go some places to drink, especially there to drink a lot now. Before it wasn't, but now, inshallah, they are drinking a lot. But inshallah, I hope to solve it after, inshallah.
The country you're from, is it majority Muslim populated, or?
Yeah, the majority is Muslim, like 90% is a Muslim country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 90%. But they are not practicing because, right now, like the government, they leave it open,
Yeah.
in the end now. But before, it was the people who was trying, even if they are not practicing like directly, but there wasn't many bad things.
Yeah.
But now, like it's like open, they open like
now
many
you can
places.
do what you want.
You see?
Okay. Okay, I want to ask you, Muhammad, give me some reasons why some of the young people were turned to drugs.
Yes, when it comes to the reasons, we find that the youth, that I have, I came into contact with some of the youth that they think that, they start with a coincidence sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, a bad friend. They have a bad friend by their side.
It's always that one guy.
Yeah. They say that your friend, either he drags you to, paradise or hellfire, as we say, and he either, help you to live in prosperity or live to an adversity.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. So one of the reasons that it starts in schools. Why? Because at the beginning, that many students, they wanted to focus on their studies.
Yeah.
So they found someone out there telling them, you want to focus on your studies, so there is bills that help you to stay up all night, and you having your eyes awake all night, so that you will get you get all the thing and you buckle down.
So it started with a good intention.
With a good intention. This is when it started with a good intention. So they go, and they with their good intention as well.
Yeah.
And because they wanted to, they got good grades, so that their parents were rejoiced for them. So they go ahead and start consuming, and sometimes injecting, swallowing, ingesting, sometimes inhaling, exhaling. Yeah. So this is what leads them at the very beginning to be and to end up as drug addicts. This one reason. The other reason is other people who start as God protect us, as a way of living, or they wanted to make a living out of something which is may God protect us from using such thing as a livelihood source. They use it to spread and spread out and distribute amongst their societies, and they are deceiving their society by telling them these are medication, a sort of medication. Someone who is having a headache or something, tell him these pills will help you to be good. It's good intention, but good intention for the taker, but for the giver, it's very bad.
He knows
intention.
that the person would eventually be addicted to it.
So they offer them these pills, and then when they start to take them, they get accustomed to them. They get accustomed to them and addict to them. So they go and they find themselves in the midst of this crisis, or a self-destructive crisis.
And by that time it's too
and
late.
that is too late. But not too late, actually, because we are now finding the solution. Every problem is a solution. As Allah Azza wa Jal said,
we're going to get to the solution. Right now we want to point out...
but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent down to this earth the disease or the illness, in accompaniment to its cure. So people who use... who think that it's too late, sometimes it gets too late for those guys who think, or those people who fall into the clutches of despair and clutches of depression. They think, so I will die as an addict. No, many people who were, I have heard of a story that the first rehabilitation center that was in Malaysia, the first one was initiated or established by a drug addict himself. He didn't want the other people around him, or in the world in general, or in his community in particular, to suffer from the same, the same suffering and the malady that's, and that he was about to cut him off or rip him off and make him, someone who's, just, living in a body. And he living just for his whims and desires. He following a path which is led him to destruction and collapse. Subhanallah.
Okay, I'm going to jump to this side. Brother Ilyas, what would you say are major issues that you see people in the West, like especially amongst the Muslim youth? Why do they turn to drugs?
I think, as the brother mentioned, it's to do with your friends. But I think before that, it comes down to two issues really. I think the first one is people who have difficult lives, they use drugs as a means of escape. So maybe they're in an abusive home, maybe one or both parents are gone, maybe they're being bullied at school. In these situations, you find a lot of children, young people, not just Muslims, but non-Muslims as well, turn into drugs. Drugs is drugs.
It's not subjective only to Muslims.
It's not Muslim drugs or non-Muslim drugs, it's just drugs. So as I was saying, you have that regard, people taking drugs as an escape for difficulties that they're facing in their lives, but also people take drugs on a social level. So people take drugs because their friends taking drugs, or they take certain drugs before they go to a party or something, or if they're hanging out with friends. So those are the two key points, I believe. But the problems that we have, I believe, also is that sometimes it's perceived to be cool to take drugs, like it's something good, and this is the problem we have in maybe some of the music that some of the young people listen to, or the movies, or it's really a projection of enjoy this life, take this and you'll be happy, or sell this.
So it's
and you'll be happy.
Perception that
it's a perception,
through music and media and movies. You see, oh, this guy's relaxing after he smoked this.
And for this, they call it what? They call it the one kind of drug, ecstasy, or happiness one, or if you, or the attainment of goals. These are names, in Arabic language. But I'm just translating.
You're translating.
So yes, they are saying attainment of goals means that if you take this, you attain your goals, but it's in a dream, not reality at all. It makes you seem that you are, graduated. If you took this pill, you'll seem that you are graduated today.
But when the effect goes off, you're back in, the first year.
And my friend, he's jogged my memory to one of the reasons, the biggest reason that many people take drugs, because they have, outlay of money that
Yeah.
they aren't knowing where to spend. They don't have the concept of social solidarity or social, social care for people who are living in the communities. So they spend money so that they change their moods.
Yeah.
They get those drugs, so that they will achieve two tasks. They will spend the money that they have. They are having accumulation
Yeah,
of
they
money.
have,
And the other things that they will try to change their moods because they are they are in
It's enjoyment.
yeah,
That's what they use it for.
It's
But,
not enjoyment. They are thinking that they are in a state of static state. Their life is not that, and they are leading dissipation, a life of dissipation and life of corruption. So this is what leads them to take drugs, and it's end up that they start to they want to extend the invitation to others.
Yeah.
They use it to get illicit gains. So this is one of the biggest reasons that there is bad guys out there that's trying to spread and trying to distribute such and disperse such a melody amongst communities, and other things. Wars lead to these things, and that's the era of opium, and that was in China. That I remember that Afghanistan they started to implant bango and hashish and other things, so that they fight in wars, and it's ended up to be what? To be, till this moment of speaking, it used in here, it reached here in Egypt, the cannabis and the handbane and the cocaine and other kind of narcotics. It is very it's endless list. They call it many names, and they implant many of them. Subhanallah, and Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, it is in a plant. It is implanted by the will of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. But Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said, وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتُ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. Subhanallah means, and make the good things in terms of food, clothes, persons, good for them or lawful for them, and make the wicked, repulsive, despicable, vile, foul things unlawful or forbidden for them. Subhanallah. But we, the guy who chooses to take the forbidden things, he doesn't know that he's distracting, or he's working on killing himself. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا, means literally, and don't kill yourself, means don't kill yourself, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is oft forgiving for you. And the other ayah that said وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ, means, and don't cast yourselves into the chasms of destruction and the chasm of devastation. Don't destroy your health. So subhanallah, this is all in Islam. The solution in Islam itself, before it comes the rehabilitation centers and things,
the solution can be found
subhanallah, in
Islam.
Egypt here, we are better off than many countries like UK, as my brother have said. My brother have good experience, better than mine. He lived there for about 20 years or something. 20 years.
1 year.
1 year. You lived there. I think that you have good experience. And you lived here for quite a good time. So you understand, you can compare between both the atmosphere there and here. Here, but for we have Islam, we would have all ignorant people out here. They are consuming liquor. They're consuming all kind of drugs.
Okay, I want to quickly ask Nadif, would you say some of the youth turn to drugs, especially in your country, if they don't have jobs, or it's because they want to get away from their daily normal lives? Would you say that's a reason?
Absolutely, that's true. Some people just resort to drug as the last option because they get themselves straight out, and they're instead of depression, but they don't know where to turn for help, for example, because they're away from religion. They don't know how to turn to Allah. So in the end, when they think, they end up taking drugs as a means to escape for that. That's what everybody in the society has a role to play. When you see a bunch of people taking drugs, so try to whatever humanly possible to help them, because by helping them you're helping yourself and you're helping your children too. Because if a house of your neighbor catches fire and say, oh, and turn a blind eye to him. So later the fire will reach you too.
Yeah.
And also a father, when you see a child, for example, doesn't spend his night at home, try to ask him, don't let him. And also, for example, don't just ask about his food. Did he eat food or what? No. Make sure what kind of friends he is hanging around with.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to your school, keep a watchful eye on your son, so, as well as your daughter.
Yeah.
And also
There's a
the
very
mother.
good point you mentioned. You said if somebody's using drugs, you should try to help him. Now,
Yeah.
I want to jump from this, take the same point and put the question to Brother Suleiman here.
Yeah.
If you have a friend
Yep.
that's, you know he has a problem, an issue with using drugs, and, he's addicted to drugs maybe,
Yeah.
and he might be addicted to drugs because he's trying to get away from his daily life, or because he doesn't have a job, or for whatever reason it may be,
Yeah.
how or in what ways can you help him
To save him on that.
yeah, to help him stop using drugs?
I like to ask him first what like he's dreaming for, what he's dreaming for future, because every human being, I think mostly if you are like you reach some age, you are dreaming to get something.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm right now my ambition is to be a commerce international,
Yeah.
So okay, to go and to ask him for what do you want to do, like me, you just gonna start talking about something. Oh, there's some other friend, he wanna be a ambassador or this and this, like this. Or you're gonna talk to him to, do you wanna be how to say something, or a cooker or working, and then maybe he's gonna tell us something, even if he doesn't, just try to make sure like he start to talk something about.
Yeah, try to encourage him.
Yeah, to encourage him. So if you prove that he wanna be something, you're gonna try to encourage him, to help him to get that one.
To achieve his goal, and
to
he'll
achieve
realize.
his goal, because like if as he said, like if like you, how to say, even if like a father, so another his friend, his daughters or children or whatever, children is taking drugs. If you leave them, you are not like giving the advice.
Yeah.
So it may affect your children too, or you how to say, you whatever, about your family. So him too, if you help him after your friend, you like in the after, he's not gonna come to you like by telling you help me this and this.
Yeah, you have to go to him.
You see, right?
Yeah.
Because like if you help him the right time, after all of you guys not gonna disturb no one, It's look like if like you are studying with your friend and he's not like going to school, but you try, you push yourself,
push him, yeah.
because you cannot get something like this,
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I
Has
want
to
to
work
get
hard.
into the perspective or the Islamic ruling on drugs. But before that, we're going to quickly take a short break and stay tuned.
And I praise Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi Subhanallah, how perfect you are, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you know what Islam is? It's a way of life for all. It is taught in the Quran, big and small. Do you know what Islam is? It's a way.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother Abdurrahim McCarthy, coming to you from the studios in London, where I'm filming my new TV show Tarbiyah for Huda TV. In Tarbiyah, we're going to take an in-depth look into how the Muslim makes Tarbiyah of himself, how he educates himself and trains himself according to the Quran and to the authentic Sunnah of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're going to see how the Quran and how the Sunnah of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam trained the Muslim, and we're going to see the impact that this Tarbiyah had on the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, that made them the greatest nation known to mankind. Tarbiyah to revive ourselves and to revive our ummah. Tarbiyah only on Huda TV.
Of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Imagine a day moving away. Suffice to say we're not here to stay. The games we play, the fuss we make, the reason for living.
This is the eternal journey. It's a series of lectures, inshallah ta'ala, hopefully trying to give and shed some light on the topic of our journey. All of us have a unique journey which we will go through, which is part of being a human being and living. We are, inshallah, going to start from the very beginning, prior to any of creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all the way through to the end, where we will either be told to go to Jannah or to Jahannam. وَأَقِيمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي, and establish the prayer for that community.
Islam stands for justice in every form possible. So you find that there's a form of justice and fairness with oneself, with everybody else, to establish fairness and justice, وَلَوْ عَلَى أَنفُسِكُمْ, even upon your own self.
There's no fitna on earth like the fitna of Dajjal. This is the end of our eternal journey.
Imagine a day moving our way. Suffice to say we're not here to stay. The games we play, the fuss we make, the reason for living is made clear that day. The angels stand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. Before the break, we said we were going to get into the Islamic ruling on drugs. So I want to ask Brother Muhammad, what's the wisdom behind Islam prohibiting drugs?
It's a very, very important question to be, brought to for the table here. Islam, as a matter of fact, all the Islamic rulings in general, they are just prescribed for preserving two main things. The religion, which is spirituality, and the worldly or the mundane things, which is, the soul, human soul.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to drugs and anything that, fall under this vast category, Islam, at the time and the lifetimes of Prophet ﷺ, was a major drug, was wine.
Yeah.
That the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, or in what was narrated by Salama, his wife, that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ prohibited anything that leads to, or anything that intoxicate the mind or intoxicate the body, and anything that numb and excite and irritate the mind itself.
Yeah.
So the Islamic ruling here, we will not say that's haram or it's halal or something. We know, as you said, thank you for coining this question, that's the wisdom, the rationale behind it. Islam, prohibit and ask us to refrain from anything that lead to the loss of the mind, the loss of wealth, and the loss of the soul.
Yeah. Okay, I want to stop you there. Brother Ilyas, if I can ask you, he mentioned, obviously Islam, the wisdom behind it, anything that can take away from your mind, that can harm your body, it's prohibited from in Islam. I want to ask you, if somebody, is depressed, and he's turning to drugs because he's depressed, what alternatives can you give him? What from an Islamic perspective, what can you tell him to do that can satisfy his needs, you can say?
No, I think this is a two-point question. I think you take the drug point first. I think one of the things that Allah tells us to do all the time is to look or to reflect.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest means of us understanding an issue is to actually see it for our own eyes. Like the Prophet ﷺ said, hearing something isn't like seeing it.
Right.
So sometimes you need to see the reality. And I would like to encourage anyone who's taking drugs or thinking of taking drugs to go and see a result of someone, with not on a video, but actually in person, see someone who's actually on drugs.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
It changes everything.
Yep. It gives you a whole different
it gives you a whole different perspective. And unfortunately, people think, it'll never ever happen to me. But if you ask that person, okay, how did it happen? It's like you mentioned, okay, I took one cigarette. It's not drugs, cigarettes.
Just one
I took one cigarette, and that just led. You have a fork. The tip of it is very sharp, but the further down you go, it gets wider and wider and wider. It can be like that with drugs sometimes. You just take one, it doesn't matter. But then sooner or later, before you know it, you're in a state that you thought you'd never ever be in. When I was growing up, there was always people like that, that will never happen to me. I'll never be like that.
Yeah.
You look at them now, and it's Allah musta'an. It's like I thank Allah that
Subhanallah.
I ain't like you.
Brother, he's just paraphrasing what he mentioned in the Quran. Thank you, brother, for paraphrasing it in a very unique way. Actually, he's saying you have to see someone who was who was doomed or who was afflicted by something like this. Subhanallah, and it will change the whole perspective and everything. And as the Quran says, in substantiating what my brother have said now, that in the whole Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون. A very similar translation here. O you who believe, purely and truly, in the complete comprehensive way of life of Islam, listen, that the wine or the intoxicants and gambling, these are all issues. Gambling and divination by arrows and dedication of stones, all are handiworks of shaitan. The path of shaitan that you have already said, the path of shaitan starts with a cigarette, start with a sip. And Allah Azza wa Jal give us the rationale or give us the point. Why? فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ means stay away and shun yourself away from it, that you may prosper, or that may you be successful in this world. And success of this world, in terms of Islam, it leads to the success of, or the ultimate success, the ultimate goal of the believer in the akhirah, the world to come. So, subhanallah, it is a path. Allah Azza wa Jal give us two paths. Path of the shaitan, which is lead to destruction, and the path of Islam, which that leads to success. So choose for yourself, as we are youth. And this path is not something that you use in the end of your life, something that you start from a very, very young age, from the tender age of 5, 2, from when you start to be mature, when you start to realize the purpose and the nature of things around you.
So the Islamic solution. Now I want to jump to Brother Sulaiman. I want to ask you, what can you say are remedies from the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that we can use and we can help our friends who are addicted to drugs and many of our viewers who are trying to get off of drugs? What can they turn to in Islam from the Sunnah or the Quran?
Like I can say that there is an ayah said, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْتُمْ سُكَارَى. Don't near or come to the prayer. Your mind is, you are like a toxicant, because you are coming to to worship Allah and God. So if you come, you have to come with clean heart and clean yourself to be like good niyyah, okay? So that you can focus well and feel the blessing, you see? Because if you are doing something good like worshiping God, you see, you have to, to make sure that your heart, you are doing it for Allah, not for someone or for something, you see? But if you just come like your mind is not like tenable, like it's like moving, or you are not focusing. Even you
so you need a clear mind when you come to prayer.
To prayer, Of course, yes. You see, because if you come to do something to worship God, whatever, anything, but if you come with good niyyah, after automatically you're gonna feel it. It doesn't need someone to come or to make it.
And that ayah is actually part of a series when it was revealed. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed all the ayahs about alcohol and stuff. The way He did it is very, very beautiful. In the Quran, as we know, first the ayahs came about, it just declared that alcohol itself, it's not good. Then the next ayah comes. So you can see it's levels, it's step by step. It's not that, like, for example, I tell you, well, alcohol is haram, stop. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't do that. We noticed that He took steps and steps, and this is what's used in rehabs and institutions that try to help people.
It's like
the same.
It's like Aisha radiallahu anha. She said that if Allah had sent if the first revelations were do not drink alcohol and do not commit zina, the Arabs would never have accepted.
It's very beautiful, because this is what all the organizations that help people get off of drugs, this is exactly what they use. And this is right in the Quran 1400 years ago. It's step by step. First, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it's not good. Then He said, don't come to prayer when you're drunk, which left people time to drink only from Isha to Fajr. That's the only time they had. And then, because this was a major issue during the Prophet ﷺ's time. And you see how beautifully Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, told us the cure for this in the Quran, that if somebody's addicted to alcohol or drugs, it's tadriji, it's step by step.
Gradual process,
It's a gradual, it's not, one day and tomorrow you don't do any drugs at all. It's step by step, you smoke a box of cigarettes, well you drop down to half box, you drop down to 2 a day,
first,
and then you're done.
Subhanallah, yes,
this is so beautiful.
This is, and one of the things that's the hadith, in containing a very good concept or good connotation, that the Prophet ﷺ called wine or the major drug of his time as the mother of all evil and the mother of all wickedness. He called it like this. He said al-khamr ummul khaba'ith. Means khamr or intoxicants. They are, the mother of all evils. They are leading to all evils. Means lead to crime. Sometimes in our current days, if you find someone who is a drunkard and he is driving, there is a possibility that 90% to hit someone. Something
that's a major issue. Drunk driving is a major issue in the West. I'm not sure about Egypt or Nigeria.
Here, unfortunately, we started to be plagued with a sort of the West, of the modern. I'm not blaming the West or blaming a certain thing, but I'm blaming the globalization. Part of the globalization is the brought bad things. Globalization is a good thing, in being the world is a small village, but the globalization, there is something that's that's spread, in especially in what they call the third world. Countries.
I want to ask. I want to stop you there and ask Nadif. Would you say that's the same issue in Nigeria, where it's maybe a drinking problem that causes accidents, and a lot of people that are taking drugs, they end up doing many crimes or involved in crimes?
As Muhammad Arabi had just said, the khamr, hiya ummul abaith, or ummul khaba'ith. Ummul khaba'ith, the mother of all evils. That's true. When you're drunken, you tend to do whatever just comes into your mind, because
you don't, because you have no control of yourself.
Of course.
You don't have control over yourself. To re-emphasize this, there's one famous story, we all know it, of a famous devoted worshipper, a person who used to worship Allah for a long time. This was said by Uthman bin Affan. It's a true story. From the people who came before you, there was a devoted worshipper. He used to worship Allah for many years. And one day there was a woman of sublime beauty, so she fell in love hopelessly with him, but she tried every trick in the book to seduce him, but she was unsuccessful. And one day she said she sent her to him, said, please tell him to come, so that he'll make witness for me. There's something happening in my home to make witness. So he came with that idea in mind. He went to her home, and when he entered into the home, she locked the door and said to him, I will not leave you go until you choose one of 3 things that I offer you, either to kill this child, or to drink this glass of wine, or to commit adultery with me. Then he thought a little bit. He said, okay, I will choose the least sin from
Subhanallah.
From the casual observer. Drinking wine is let thin, but no sooner than he drank the wine, then he became blackout and unconscious. So in the end, he grabbed the sword and killed the boy, and also committed adultery with her. You see,
so it is true.
He did the 3 things by the vehicle, the first vehicle, which is
because
drugs, which is khamr. The Prophet ﷺ called the khamr.
So it's the door to
the door of every. Subhanallah.
That's why Islam.
It's a very great story, my friend.
Islam put a lot of emphasis on your sin, because the sin is a gift from Allah that He bestowed on you. So don't try to corrupt your sins by drinking wine and alcohol, because when you do this, also there is another incident which happened. A boy came home while in a state of intoxication under the influence of alcohol. And he said to his mother, I must have an affair with you, or I will kill you. So later she gave in. After that, when he had an affair with his mother, his own mother, and when he was in sober state, he discovered the gravity of his sin. and became depressed, and later he committed suicide due to that.
Wow.
So
May Allah protect us.
that's why is a big idea, or is a must and incumbent upon everyone to distance himself from all intoxicant things, whether it is taken by the means of injection or even tobacco, which is chewing tobacco, what do you call it? Chewing tobacco.
Chewing tobacco.
Yeah, and all that can make you unconscious.
Anything that can mess with your
Absolutely,
mind.
because كل مسكر حرام. A Prophet says.
It's corrupt and suspend the sensory perceptions and merely the best gift, which is the mind. And with
that's what differentiates humans from animals.
Without the mind, we're just walking machines. We can do whatever.
So
we can.
There's no difference between you
Yes, of course.
and an animal.
Subhanallah,
If you have to sane and mind.
Brother Ilyas, I want to ask you, if you were to give one message to the youth that are watching this program right now, what would you tell them?
About drugs?
About drugs, about how to stay away from drugs, about why you should stay away from drugs. What are the benefits of turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and using prayer or reading Quran or these other sorts of meditation that can give you the same calm feeling? Because a lot of people, when they go into drugs, they want that calm feeling.
Yeah.
So about the Islamic way to achieve a calmness and a, hudu.
I think it's a very good question, actually. And one thing we need to realize, a lot of the Sahaba before Islam were addicted to alcohol because it was played such a prevalent role in society in pre-Islamic Arabia. And one thing we find that is actually coming back to your question asked me earlier on about depression. Depression and drugs and alcohol are intrinsically linked. And one of the things you need to do is replace the alcohol with something. So the reason why people take alcohol and drugs sometimes, as we said, to get away, or it's a social drug. So it's sometimes about keeping busy, making sure that you're doing something productive that will replace the need on a dependency on the drugs or the alcohol. So I think a message would be just to stay completely away from it. Even we can say, oh look, it's haram. But some people, sometimes the iman is low, they don't have that. They don't have that quality. So if that's the case, then you know what, just like I said, just go to someone and see
their state
and think, do you want to be like that really? And inshallah that will give them the wake-up call that they need. And in terms of parents as well, because this is important, because sometimes parents, they don't understand. And sometimes parents, he's young, let him live. There's some things that you don't take chances with. So if you're a parent, take your child. Like, you might know some people are, like I said, just when you see it firsthand, and you see the impact and
then you want to be away.
Then you say, that's not me, man. I don't want to live like that.
Suleiman, I want to ask you, if you were to give the audience one piece of advice to take away from tonight's episode, what would it be?
Yeah, as we know, some people, it's not easy to them, to live something directly,
Yeah.
Because some people gonna say if they are living something, they start that it can cause another, sickness. So you just all need to try,
Yeah.
You have to try whatever, but to give it a try. Because that's not after it's going to play on you. Because it's not going to give you success. You're not going to think if you're taking drugs, you're not going to think about something to be a success about something. Just thinking something negative,
Yeah.
So I'm just going to tell you, to try. And,
try their best.
Yeah, to try, especially to if you have a friend who's used to do something is not good. To try to be, to get some distance between you and him.
You and him. Obviously, you got to keep good company.
And then to try to do something ibadah, like reading Quran or going to the mosque, pray. And to even if you are doing something to make a dua to forgiveness, because even into in your shabab, in your youth, there is an ayah to say those people إنما التوبة على سورة النساء إنما التوبة على الذين
يعملون السوء بجهالة
ثم يتوبون من قريب فأولئك يتوب الله عليهم
وكان الله توابا رحيما.
Those people who repentance near, not generally the ayah is going to talk about, don't wait until you are near to die or now your youthness is finished, you can't even do something better, You better to repentance to
the sooner the better.
Sooner is better to people to benefit you and to benefit with another people. Though even in the second ayat is going to talk about those people too who's not like do not live until you are near to die and to go in repentance. If inshallah God can expect, but try right now.
Okay.
Try to get up and to push it.
I wanted to thank you all for joining us today and sharing your thoughts and your perspectives for today's on today's subject. I want to thank the viewers. Also, please support Huda TV by all means. May Allah bless you all, and until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And I praise Subhanallah wa bihamdihi Subhanallah, how perfect you are, Allah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi Subhanallah, you are, Allah, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Allah, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name, Allah. I need you, Allah, your mercy is great.